Hello friends, I am Aditya Tiwari and I teach here at Cavalier. Today we are going to discuss CDS exam question paper, especially of GS, and we will be discussing 4 specific subjects, namely polity, geography and then history, and after that we will go to economics and current affairs, of course. So first we should try to, we will discuss polity only. I have set number D, so if you have your own paper, you can take it out and you can try to solve it along with me. Okay, so we will be only discussing the questions which are very important and relevant. Okay, the facts which is just given or the factual paper which is just there, we will not discuss it at all. Okay, so let us start with the question numbers. Now if you will go to set D and if you will come to question number, especially of polity we are discussing, then question number 41, we have question number 41. What does it say? That which among the following acts were repealed by Article 395 of the Constitution of India? As we know that Article 395 is the last article of our Constitution of India, and in any act or in any law, the last article is always to repeal the act which is replacing this by this particular act. Okay, so Constitution of India replaced basically 2 main acts. First act that it replaced was Indian Independence Act, which was passed in July 1947 in British Parliament, and second was Government of India Act 1935. So the options where we have 4 options, that is the Government of India Act 1935 and Indian Independence Act 1947, and again Abolition of Privy Council Jurisdiction Act 1949. As we know that before the Supreme Court we have a Privy Council, which were the highest court of appeal for any cases that was in India, and the Government of India Act 1919, it was replaced by in fact Government of India Act 1935. So these 2 options are clearly incorrect. To see exactly the question, let us open the Constitution of India and let us go to Article 395 and let us try to find out what is exactly written there. This is the exact, we can see this is the Article 395. Let us zoom it out a little bit so that you can understand very. India Act 1935 altogether with its enactment, amending or supplementing the later act, but not including Abolition of Privy Council Act Jurisdiction Act 1949. It means this act was particularly not abolished, but only these 2 acts were abolished, that is the Indian Independence Act 1947 and Government of India Act 1935. Okay, so these questions. Now let us come to question number 42, that is of the set D, if you have, that is the question related to citizenship. So this question says that on 26th November 1949, which of the following provision of the Constitution of India came into effect? Now if you will look at the Constitution very closely, in the preceding article here only it is written that which of the following provisions will come into effect immediately. So you can see this article, this question relates to Article 394. It exactly says the Article 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9, and if you have read the Constitution, you might have seen that 5, 6, 8, 9 relates to the provision of citizenship. Then it says about 324, okay, it relates to the elections, okay, and 366 to 392, it all related to the provisional parliament. Okay, so this question is basically question from 394 article. Okay, so when the Constitution was enacted, obviously we needed to have elections, we needed to have further provisional parliament, so that the administrative machinery of the India can go on. For that we have a very specific provision, okay, that this provision will be affected only till 26th January. After that it will be annulled. Okay, similarly we had these 3 provisions in fact, specifically regarding citizenship, regarding election. That is why you might have learned that this election day in India is on 25th January, right? Just 1 day before election commission was established, so that the election could take place, right? So this was the question number 42. Again, it is a very fundamental questions directly related to Article 394. Again, we will be going to question number 43 of the set D. It says which of the following statement regarding the Constituent Assembly of India is or slash are correct. Now let us try to understand each options in a very detailed manner. First is the assembly was elected indirectly by the members of provincial legislative assemblies. It is very correct answer. You know what happened when cabinet mission plan came to India, and the main purpose of that mission plan, that okay, we have to give independence to India, then what to do? So we had to lay some kind of a structure or the constitution on which India can be governed, right? So the main purpose was that, and obviously it was necessitated by that defeat of Conservative Party and the Labour Party came into the power in Britain after World War II, that led to this particular cabinet mission plan. Now the second one was the election was held on the basis of adult franchise. It is completely incorrect. In Government of India Act 1935, according to which the legislative or provincial legislative assembly election took place, that was not on the basis of adult franchise. So obviously this was also not based on adult franchise. So this option is also incorrect. Now the third option is the scheme of election was laid down by the cabinet delegation. It is absolutely correct. Just as I have mentioned, कि cabinet mission plan जो है, it was the plan which came to India to make the Constitution of India. And incidentally, you must be knowing that the Constitution of India and Pakistan, the Constituent Assembly of India and Pakistan was made together. It was bifurcated afterwards. Once the Mountbatten plan on 3rd June came into picture, it was bifurcated. So it became the Constituent Assembly of India and Constituent Assembly of Pakistan. So this third option is also correct. Now the third is the distribution of seats was done on the basis of Mountbatten plan. This is obviously incorrect, because Mountbatten became Governor General in 1947 itself, right? So how can that plan will affect the cabinet delegation, right? So this obviously option is also incorrect. And what was Mountbatten plan? Just to remind you, it was a plan to divide India. Okay, it was announced on 3rd June that okay, we will have separate dominion of India and dominion of Pakistan, right? So this was obviously incorrect statement. So the answer will be 1 and 3rd, that is D. Option number D of 42 is correct. Okay, now let us go to question number. We are just searching about polity questions. Now we have a question number 51. It is very important to understand this particular question. It says which of the following are the constitutional provision and law for the protection of the right of scheduled caste in India? हम लोगों ने क्लास में भी डिस्कस किया था इस बात को. आर्टिकल 17, ठीक ना, जिसको कि एब्सोल्यूट फंडामेंटल राइट करते हैं, which can never be suspended. What is it? It is abolition of untouchability, right? So abolition of untouchability में क्या कहा गया है कि untouchability is abolished and shall be punishable by law. Now by what law? What will be the quantum of punishment? That was left to the parliament कि भाई पार्लियामेंट डिसाइड करेगी कि जो untouchability है उसके लिए पनिशमेंट क्या होगा, ठीक ना. तो पार्लियामेंट ने 2 लॉ उसके लिए बनाए थे. एक तो इमीडिएटली बनाया था, दैट इज द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिविल राइट एक्ट, एंड सेकेंड लॉ वाज SC/ST प्रिवेंशन ऑफ एट्रोसिटीज एक्ट 1989. आपको याद होगा कि ये क्वेश्चन भी इसलिए है क्योंकि अभी अभी SC/ST एक्ट में क्या हुआ था, अमेंडमेंट किया गया था, ठीक है ना, कि सो दैट देयर राइट्स कैन बी प्रोटेक्टेड मोर. सो ऑल ऑफ दीज 3 ऑप्शंस, दैट इज आर्टिकल 17 ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया, ऑब्वियसली दैट रिलेट्स टू अनटचेबिलिटी, बट अनटचेबिलिटी इज स्पेसिफिक मीन्स टू शेड्यूल्ड कास्ट, राइट. हम लोग क्या अनटचेबिलिटी किसके खिलाफ है? ऑब्वियसली हमेशा शेड्यूल कास्ट के खिलाफ होगा. इट इज़ नॉट अगेंस्ट एनी ऑर्डिनरी सिटीजन्स. सेकंड इज द प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ सिविल राइट एक्ट 1955, ऑब्वियसली इट इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट. एंड थर्ड इज शेड्यूल कास्ट एंड शेड्यूल ट्राइब प्रिवेंशन ऑफ एट्रोसिटीज एक्ट 1989. ओके, सो दीज ऑल 3 प्रोविजन बेसिकली रिलेट्स टू प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ शेड्यूल्ड caste in India. Okay, so this statement is obviously all of them is correct. So for 51 the answer number the option C is correct. Now let us come to question number 52. Now it is something very interesting, very conceptual question it is. Let us focus in a very good way. Which of the following is not true about the power of Supreme Court? Now here is a very tricky part. Not true. Okay, now the first option is the Supreme Court has a original and exclusive jurisdiction in intergovernmental dispute. Now what do you mean by intergovernmental? There can be 2 analysis. एक कह सकते हैं कि भाई गवर्नमेंट के 2 गवर्नमेंट के बीच में है, ठीक ना. तो 2 गवर्नमेंट कौन सा? अगर वो गवर्नमेंट सपोज कि यूनियन टेरिटरी ऑफ दिल्ली का गवर्नमेंट है एंड गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया है, अगर उनके बीच का डिस्प्यूट है तो ऑब्वियसली इट कैन गो टू हाई कोर्ट. इनफैक्ट हाई कोर्ट जस्ट गेव अ डिसीजन अबाउट इट, राइट. So here we are taking the meaning intergovernment means कि between state government and central government, or you can say between two states government, या one state government on one side and other state government on other side, या two or more state government on other side. Okay, so taking the meaning of intergovernmental means कि two state or union governments, right? Then this statement is completely correct. It comes under the original jurisdiction of Supreme Court, that any intergovernment or disputes between two states, union or state, will be always be decided by the Supreme Court. Now the second statement is, the Supreme Court has advisory jurisdiction on a question of law or fact which may be referred to it by the President of India. Again it is very absolutely correct statement कि union government, that is the president, चाहे तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट से क्या कर सकता है, एडवाइस मांग सकता है, and that advice सुप्रीम कोर्ट को देना है, वो बाइंडिंग है. He cannot refuse कि okay I will not give that advice. Okay, so that is obviously a very this is very correct statement regarding the powers of Supreme Court. Now the third statement is, the Supreme Court has power to review its own judgment and order. Again it is correct statement. We have a advisory jurisdiction of Supreme Court. In that we say that okay, the judgment of Supreme Court is applicable throughout the territory of India, or it is binding through all the lower courts, but it is not binding on the Supreme Court itself. But obviously we revise it by a higher larger number of judges. कि भाई चलो 3 जज ने फैसला दिया है तो we revise it by the 5 judges. Okay, so that is there. So obviously this statement is also correct. Now the D. The Supreme Court has exclusive power to issue writs to the protection of fundamental right of the people of India. So obviously the first 3 statement is correct, so it will be incorrect, but let us try to explain why it is incorrect. The option says the Supreme Court has the exclusive power. Now this exclusivity is not there with the Supreme Court. Okay, it means कि to issue a fundamental rights against government, High Court have a concurrent exclusivity against with the Supreme Court. It means कि both Supreme Court and High Court can give any issue writs regarding the fundamental right. However, you might be aware एक special article है, that is article 226, that gives exclusive jurisdiction to the High Court if the writs has to be issued against a individual or citizens, not against the state. So if it is against a state, the writ has to be issued against the state. सरकार के खिलाफ, राज्य के खिलाफ अगर writ issue करना है तो हमेशा किसके लिए हम लोग जाएंगे, सुप्रीम कोर्ट एज वेल एज हाई कोर्ट. यू हैव ऑप्शन टू गो कि आप सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा सकते हैं या हाई कोर्ट, ठीक ना. तो एक्सक्लूसिव जुरिडिक्शन नहीं, ठीक ना. एक्सक्लूसिव का मतलब क्या हो गया, सिर्फ सुप्रीम कोर्ट जा सकते हैं. ओके, सो ऑब्वियसली दिस स्टेटमेंट इज इनकरेक्ट. दैट इज आर्टिकल क्वेश्चन नंबर 52. द ऑप्शन विल बी डी, विच इज इनकरेक्ट. Now let us coming to this 6th schedule. It is very simple question. You can see that it is applicable to the few states only. Now let us come to article 54. Now what is 5th and 6th schedule? आप लोग को पता होगा. 5th में 3 states हैं, 4 states, उसके अलावा जितने हैं सबके सब 5th में. 6th में सिर्फ 4 में एप्लीकेबल है, उसके अलावा जितने हैं सबके सब शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब्स और शेड्यूल्ड एरियाज कहाँ एप्लीकेबल है, 5th में, राइट. तो 5th and 6th, these are the 2 articles that deals with the scheduled tribal areas. Okay, formation of that autonomous councils. Okay, now let us come to our question number 54. Again a very good question, and it is very conceptual. In fact, I was very surprised to see this question. First is which of the following statement regarding 9th schedule of India of the Constitution of India is not correct. Now the first option is, it was inserted by the Constitution Amendment 1951. First amendment is very correct. आपको याद होगा कि जब पहला ही Constitution आया था तो there was a judgment in the state of Bihar versus in that judgment what Supreme Court held that okay, the law made under Article 13 or the Constitution Amendment made under Article 13 shall be within the meaning of law found in Article 13. ओके, तो अगर कोई कंस्टिट्यूशन अमेंडमेंट किया जाता है आर्टिकल 368 में, तो उससे जो लॉ बनाया गया है वो लॉ सिमिलर लॉ है जो कि आर्टिकल 13 में कहा गया. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि अगर वो लॉ आर्टिकल 13 के हिसाब से लॉ है, देन इट कैन बी रिव्यूड ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ वायलेटिंग फंडामेंटल राइट्स. Okay, now what happened, Supreme Court gave that judgment that okay, that law will be meaning of the same law. Now for that what happened, that all the properties, especially that land reform acts, it was cancelled, annulled by the High Court. Several High Court obviously upheld, several High Court basically rescinded those acts in various states. And obviously after independence we needed land reform चाहिए थे क्योंकि बहुत सारे ज़मीन जो है कुछ पर्टिकुलर लोगों के पास थे. तो for that we had this special amendment, a kind of pass was provided in the constitution that okay, and a special article 31A was inserted, and in that it was written that कि भाई आर्टिकल जितने भी आर्टिकल 31A में ये लिखा गया कि जितने भी शेड्यूल्ड 9 में जितने भी लॉज डाले जाएंगे that will be beyond the purview of judicial review. Okay, that was the kind of blanket that was created, switch that was created. So obviously this statement is correct. Second is the act and regulation specified in the 9th schedule shall become void on the ground it violates fundamental right in part 3 of the constitution. Again this statement is incorrect. Okay, बिकॉज द जस्ट आई टोल्ड यू कि आर्टिकल 31A इसीलिए डाला गया था कि जो शेड्यूल 9 है उसमें जो भी लॉ डाले जाएंगे दैट विल बी बियॉन्ड द प्रीव्यू ऑफ कोर्ट, सो दैट इट कैन नॉट बी रिव्यूड किया। आर्टिकल 31A में यही लिखा है कि जो जितने भी पार्ट 3 में फंडामेंटल राइट्स दिए गए हैं उसके खिलाफ अगर ये है तो उसमें उसके लिए इस पर्टिकुलर लॉ को ख़त्म नहीं किया जा सकता है। ओके, सो अगेन दिस वाज चैलेंज्ड लेटर ऑन and in a very famous judgment you might have seen that in Kesav Nanda Bharti case it was decided कि ठीक है कि आर्टिकल शेड्यूल 9 में जितने भी लॉज डाले गए हैं उसको रिव्यू नहीं कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर के खिलाफ नहीं हो सकता। अगर बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर के खिलाफ है तो रिव्यू कर सकते हैं। तो अभी जो करंट पोजीशन है आर्टिकल 9 में जाने के बाद उसका रिव्यू नहीं होगा, लेकिन जाने के प्रोसेस को रिव्यू किया जा सकता है कि वेदर दैट प्रोसेस एंड जो लॉ है वो बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर के खिलाफ नहीं है। तो अभी भी वो फंडामेंटल राइट के खिलाफ प्रोटेक्टेड है, क्योंकि शेड्यूल 9 में जितने भी लॉज होंगे वो फंडामेंटल राइट के खिलाफ हो सकते हैं। ओके, इट कैन नॉट बी रिव्यूड बट इट कैन नॉट बी अगेंस्ट बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, इसके लिए उसका रिव्यू किया जा सकता है। ठीक ना, सो ऑब्वियसली द बी ऑप्शन इज इनकरेक्ट, करेक्ट। नाउ द थर्ड इज the Supreme Court has the power of judicial review of any act included on the ground of basic structure. Obviously this statement is also correct, the Supreme Court can review it. And the last is the appropriate legislature can repeal and amend. Obviously this statement is also correct. Okay, so this particular statement. Now let us come to question number 55 is not with us, no 57, set D 57. You can look for the corresponding questions in your different sets. Which of the following statement with regard to the conduct of election in India are correct? Is or are correct? ठीक ना, इलेक्शन करवाने कंडक्ट ऑफ इलेक्शन में कौन सी चीज़ें इसमें से सही हैं? ठीक ना, आर करेक्ट पहला है, सॉरी आर नॉट करेक्ट, सही नहीं है। पहला, द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी फॉर द प्रिपरेशन ऑफ इलेक्टोरल रोल्स इज वेस्टेड इन द इलेक्शन कमीशन ऑफ इंडिया, वेरी करेक्ट। ऑन द वेरी आर्टिकल 324 में अगर आप देखेंगे इन द वेरी फर्स्ट लाइन इट इज रिटन कि भाई द रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू कंडक्ट एंड prepare electoral roll vest with the election commission of India. So obviously this statement is correct. Second is the model code of conduct comes into existence as soon as the date of the election is announced. It is also correct. आपने देखा होगा जब भी चुनाव का डेट घोषित होता है तो मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट लागू हो जाता है। ठीक है, तो as soon as the date is fixed model code of conduct starts. Now what is model code of conduct? It is not a law. Okay, it is a kind of resolution which all the parties decided that okay we will adhere it to. Okay, so it is not a law, it is simply a set of bunch of rules decided by the parties itself. Okay, now let us come to question, the statement 3. The law related to delimitation of constituencies are made by the Election Commission of India. It is incorrect statement. Many students got confused. It is correct. No, the delimitation will be done by the Election Commission of India, but the law concerning that delegation will be legislated by the Parliament. कि हाँ भाई, जैसे मैं अभी डेलिमिनेशन कमीशन एक्ट आया था 2002 में जिसमें कि कहा गया कि नहीं डेलिमिनेशन किया जाए, तो दैट एक्चुअली द एग्जीक्यूशन ऑफ डेलिमिनेशन विल बी डन बाय द इलेक्शन कमीशन, बट द लॉ विच विल मेक दैट डेलीगेशन विल बी डन बाय द पार्लियामेंट। ओके, एंड वन मोर थिंग, जैसे डेलिमिनेशन, व्हाट इज डेलिमिनेशन? डेलिमिनेशन का मतलब होता है कि भाई कंस्टिट्यूएंसी का एरिया तय करना। होता नहीं है कि भाई एक पर्टिकुलर कंस्टिट्यूएंसी है, उसमें पता चला कि 2 कंस्टिट्यूएंसी थी, उसमें से ड्यू टू डेवलपमेंट और एनी अदर इकोनॉमिक एक्टिविटी कुछ इलाके के लोग जो है यहाँ से वहाँ पॉपुलेशन ट्रांसफर हो गया, तो इसलिए आपको एरिया इस तरीके से बदलना होगा ताकि दोनों का क्या हो, पॉपुलेशन बैलेंस रहे। ठीक ना, क्योंकि जो प्रोपोर्शन है पॉपुलेशन का सिंपल या सिमिलर रहना चाहिए। ऐसा नहीं होगा ना कि कहीं पे 10 लाख पॉपुलेशन है, कहीं पे 2 लाख पॉपुलेशन है। देयर हैज टू बी बैलेंस इन दैट। ओके, सो दैट इज दैट एक्सरसाइज ऑफ practically fixing the boundaries of the constituencies is called delimitation. So that is done by the election commission, but the law will be made by the legislature. अच्छा, इसमें एक बात याद रखना है, अगर डेलिमिनेशन कमीशन ने लॉ बना दिया, ठीक है ना, सॉरी रूल्स बना दिए कि ऐसे ऐसे डेलिमिनेशन होगा, तो उस डेलिमिनेशन को लेजिस्लेचर में रखा जाएगा, तो लेजिस्लेचर कैन नॉट अमेंड दैट। ऐसा नहीं है कि वो ऐसा कहेगा नहीं ये वाला डेलिमिनेशन मुझे स्वीकार नहीं, आप इसको ख़त्म कर दो। ही विल हैव टू एक्सेप्ट इट। ओके, सो क्योंकि लेजिस्लेचर को ये पावर नहीं दिया सकता, नहीं तो वो अपने हिसाब से फिर एरियाज तय कर लेंगे। ठीक ना, तो डेलिमिनेशन कमीशन विल फिक्स इट, बट इट विल बी डन बाय द इलेक्शन कमीशन। ओके, obviously they form a delegation commission of India. Now let us come to question number 58. Now it is a very tricky question, very in-depth question of our constitution. It relates to article 338. It is very interesting. Now let us come to let us read it. It is 58 number question. You can see your corresponding questions. Which one of the following statement with regard to the National Commission of Scheduled Tribe is not correct? Okay, so it will be very nice. We can have this article number 338 that deals with National Commission of Scheduled Tribe. It will be very easy for us to understand it. Let us have this article number 338. It will be good for us to simply add it. Article number yes, this is the article number 338. 337 we have Anglo-Indian Committee, and we have National Commission of Scheduled Tribes. So for tribal we have 338A. Remind you, in original constitution it was only 338. It was bifurcated by 89th Amendment 2003, and it was separated. Now let us try to understand it. What is written there? There shall be a commission known as Scheduled Tribe, to be known as National Commission of Scheduled Tribes. Subject to the it will have a commission shall consist of chairman, vice chairman, and 3 other members. Now this particular question is relates to it shall report which of the statement is incorrect. अगर आप if you will see it, the same statement, the option number D is completely same. The commission shall have power to regulate its own procedure. That is exactly option number D. Okay, the same verbatim the line is obviously there. Now this, while investigating, this commission shall have all the power. The commission shall have all the power of a civil court while investigating any crime, like summoning, or you can say discovery of any events. These all are the power of a court, that they can summon anyone, they can take oath, they can receive affidavit. Okay, so it will have the power of all the civil court. Okay, civil court के पास जो power होती है, National Commission of Scheduled Tribe के पास similar powers होगी. ठीक है ना? Again we have question statement number 3 that its recommendation shall be laid only before Lok Sabha. Now this is incorrect, because just above if you will see that the recommendation, while any such report will be referred and forwarded to state legislature, as well as will be given in union, will be given on the parliament. Okay, तो ये report parliament में भी डाला जाएगा, shall be laid before each house. ठीक है ना? तो यहाँ पे क्या statement है? Only before Lok Sabha. So obviously this statement is incorrect. Okay, similarly we have union and state government shall consult on all मेजर पॉलिसी अफेक्टिंग शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब. अगेन दैट इज अ करेक्ट स्टेटमेंट कि अगर कोई शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब के खिलाफ पॉलिसी बनती है उनके लिए, ठीक है, उनके शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब में परिवर्तन करना है, शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब को हटाना है, शेड्यूल्ड ट्राइब नया लाना है, तो स्टेट गवर्नमेंट को भी कंसल्ट करने की ज़रूरत है. इट इज़ मैंडेटरी कि यू हैव टू कंसल्ट द स्टेट गवर्नमेंट. ठीक है ना? सो ऑब्वियसली दिस क्वेश्चन इज ऑब्वियसली वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग बिकॉज पीपल जनरली स्किप दीज commissions, right? So they have, so from next time you have to read all the article in very good way. Now let us come to question number 59. Now 59 is a fairly simple question. It says कि right to form association and union is a right. ठीक ना? right to form association, union और cooperative society, article 19 clause 1. ठीक ना? उसमें जो 6 फंडामेंटल राइट्स है उसमें एक राइट ये है. तो ये किसको दिया गया है? तो अगर आप आर्टिकल 19 को देखेंगे तो यहाँ पे स्टार्ट ही है उसका कि एवरी सिटीजन्स, right? So it means that this right is granted only to the citizen of our country. Okay, if you want, you can go to article 19 and see for yourself what is exactly written in article 19. Article 19 is very interesting. You can see this article 19 कि all citizens shall have right First is all citizens, okay? In that you can see to form association, union and cooperative societies. The question itself says right to form association and union is a right guaranteed to everybody? Obviously not. Guaranteed only to citizens? It is 100% correct, because in the very beginning it is written all citizens have held same right, okay? So this is the question number 59. Now let us come to question number 63. Now this 63 is obviously again a very important question and somewhat confusing. In fact we have two kind of, हम लोग दो तरीके से इसको interpret कर सकते हैं. Let us try to see. 63 कहता है कि which of the following statement is not correct with respect to article 32 of the Constitution of India. Now what is 32? It is enforcement of fundamental right, remedies for the enforcement of fundamental right, okay? Sometime it is also called heart and soul, क्योंकि fundamental right आपको दे दिया जाए कि ये राइट्स हैं, ये राइट्स हैं, और यही नहीं बताया जाए कि अगर ये राइट्स फॉलो नहीं हुआ तो आप क्या करेंगे, तो उस राइट्स का कोई मतलब नहीं है, ओके? सो दैट इज वाई आर्टिकल 33 गिव्स यू द मैकेनिज्म फॉर इन्फोर्समेंट ऑफ फंडामेंटल राइट. So you can say it gives life to all other fundamental right. इसके अलावा all other fundamental right की वैल्यू नहीं रहती अगर enforcement नहीं हो. There has to be some sanction of threat to enforce that. Okay. So which of the following is not correct? First, it provides remedies for the citizen for the enforcement of fundamental right. It is absolutely correct. Now it is a part of fundamental right. Yes, itself is. That is why it is called heart and soul, because it is a part of fundamental right, and for that it will be easy when we if we can have this fundamental right article 32 in your front, so that you can see for yourself what is exactly written there. Yes, this is article 32. The right to move Supreme Court by appropriate proceedings for the enforcement of right conferred by this part is guaranteed. The Supreme Court shall have power to issue directions or order or writs. So they can issue directions also, they can issue an order, or they can issue a writ, including writs in the nature of habeas corpus, mandamus, prohibition, quo warranto, certiorari, which may be appropriate for the enforcement. Now, which may be appropriate. Now, this is completely up to the discretion of the Supreme Court कि if उनको लगता है कि appropriate है तभी वो इसको क्या करेगी, जारी करेगी, नहीं तो जारी इस रिट को नहीं करेगी, ठीक है ना. तो स्टेटमेंट नंबर 3 पढ़ते हैं कि द सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन नॉट रिफ्यूज अ रिट अंडर आर्टिकल 32 ऑन द ग्राउंड ऑफ डिले. अगर इसका आप स्ट्रिक्ट इंटरप्रिटेशन करेंगे तो सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन रिफ्यूज, कि अगर बहुत ज़्यादा डिले है, अगर उसको वो कंडोन नहीं करता है. हाँ, इफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट कंडोन्स तो ऑब्वियसली कोई दिक्कत नहीं है, लेकिन अगर उसको कंडोन नहीं करता है डिले को, इफ इट इज़ नॉट प्रॉपरली एक्सप्लेन्ड, देन सुप्रीम कोर्ट कैन रिफ्यूज कि हाँ भाई फंडामेंटल राइट के लिए मैं कोई रिट आपकी जारी नहीं करूँगा. नाउ दिस स्टेटमेंट इज ऑब्वियसली इनकरेक्ट फॉर स्ट्रिक्ट इंटरप्रिटेशन. लेकिन अगर आप क्वेश्चन आई मीन द ऑप्शन नंबर डी पे आते हैं तो प्रोटेक्शन ऑफ आर्टिकल 32 ऑल्सो अप्लाइज टू द इन्फोर्समेंट ऑफ ऑर्डिनरी लॉ विच हैज़ नथिंग टू डू विद द फंडामेंटल राइट. एंड नाउ अगेन दिस इज अ वेरी ट्रिकी पार्ट. मान लीजिए कि कोई लॉ बना जिसको कि फंडामेंटल राइट से लेना देना नहीं है. ना लेना देना नहीं है किस सेंस में, क्योंकि हर एक लॉ का फंडामेंटल राइट से लेना देना होगा, कोई भी लॉ फंडामेंटल राइट के खिलाफ नहीं हो सकता. तो अगर फंडामेंटल राइट के खिलाफ के सेंस में नहीं लेना देना है कि फंडामेंटल राइट को टच नहीं करता, तो ऑब्वियसली इट विल बी नॉट इन द ओपिनियन ऑफ सुप्रीम कोर्ट. हाँ, लेकिन अगर ऐसा कोई लॉ है जो किसी भी फंडामेंटल राइट्स की किसी भी पर्टिकुलर ग्राउंड को वायलेट करता है, भले ही वो फंडामेंटल राइट से एग्जैक्टली रिलेटेड नहीं हो, लेकिन किसी भी तरीके से अगर कनेक्टेड है, तो दैट विल बी can be challenged in the Supreme Court. Okay, so obviously this statement is obviously you can say either correct or incorrect, but strict interpretation करने पे इसे भी हम लोग क्या बोलेंगे, correct. Okay, so option number C is incorrect. The Supreme Court cannot refuse. No, Supreme Court can refuse because they have been given may be appropriate. It means कि complete judicial discretion is with the Supreme Court कि they can refuse it. Okay, now let us come to question number 64. Again very easy question. Which of the following writ is issued by the Supreme Court to secure the freedom of person from unlawful arrest? Have the body, that is habeas corpus. Okay, that is for the unlawful arrest. So it obviously it was a very easy question. Now let us come to question number 65. Which of the following provision of the Constitution is not a fundamental duty? It is question number 65. You can see your corresponding questions. First is to respect the national flag. It is correct. Second is to defend the country. Now to defend the country when called upon to do so. Okay, in that chapter you will see that we have to defend the country, but when called upon to do so, or you can say render the national service when called upon to do so. So again, if you are not going by very strict provision, this can be also incorrect, but obviously it is normally meaning. Now to provide education to one child, आपको याद होगा जब 21A राइट टू एजुकेशन ऐड किया गया था तो एक फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी भी ऐड किया गया था कि जो भी गार्जियन अपने 6 से 14 साल के बच्चे हैं उनके, तो उनको भी उसको कोशिश करनी चाहिए, इट्स इज फंडामेंटल ड्यूटी कि उसे शिक्षा वो दे, ठीक ना। तो ऑब्वियसली दिस स्टेटमेंट इज ऑल्सो करेक्ट। नाउ टू प्रमोट विलेज एंड कॉटन इंडस्ट्री, नो, इट इज बेसिकली डायरेक्टिव प्रिंसिपल ऑफ स्टेट पॉलिसी कि विलेज और कॉटन इंडस्ट्री को बढ़ावा जाए, बेसिकली दिस इज अ गांधीयन प्रिंसिपल। नाउ लेट अस कम टू आर्टिकल क्वेश्चन नंबर 66। Under Article 352 of the Constitution of India, an emergency can be declared if the security of any part of India is threatened by war, external aggression, armed rebellion and internal disturbance। तो आपको याद होगा कि ओरिजिनल कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में इट वाज इंटरनल डिस्टर्बेंस, जिसका कि दुरुपयोग किया इंदिरा गांधी ने, तो इट वाज रिप्लेस्ड बाय ए वेरी स्पेसिफिक वर्ड कि देयर हैज टू बी ए रिबेलियन एंड दैट रिबेलियन शुड बी ए आर्म्ड वन। ओके, सो नॉर्मल रिबेलियन विल नॉट, okay, I mean normal rebellion will not be a ground, and this armed rebellion has to be ground for internal emergency, right? For external we have war and external aggression. Now let us come to next question. So this was question number 66. The statement number 1, 2, 3 is correct, so option number A is correct. Now let us see another questions that is related to here. Question number is 112. It's a very interesting question, 112. It says the basic structure doctrine to the with regard to the Constitution of India relates to, first, the power of judicial review, second, the judgment of Kesav Nanda Bharti case, third, the constraint of Article 368 of the Constitution of India, and fourth is the judgment in the Golaknath case. Now to know this question we have to little bit understand what do you mean by this particular case. Now to understand it we should try to understand, if you will see Article 13 of the Constitution, it talks about that any law made by Parliament cannot be against fundamental right, cannot be against or abrogate or inconsistent with the fundamental right. Different terminology has been used. Now what is law? That has been further divided in subsequent clause. It has been defined, what do you mean by law? Now the question arose, in the basic question that arose was whether the law made by Parliament to amend constitution is the same law which is being talked in Article 13. कि पार्लियामेंट जो लॉ बना रही है, पार्लियामेंट दो तरह का लॉ बना रही है। एक लॉ बना रही है पार्लियामेंट की भाई ऑर्डिनरी कोई भी लॉ है, एक लॉ पार्लियामेंट बना रही है कि कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को अमेंड करना है, तो वो दोनों लॉ सेम है। तो क्वेश्चन वाज वेदर बोथ लॉ इज सेम और नॉट। इट इज़ वेरी ट्रिकी अंडरस्टैंड, क्योंकि दो क्वेश्चन इसी क्वेश्चन में रिलेटेड है, हर एक एग्जाम में 2 क्वेश्चन इससे जरूर रिलेटेड आते हैं, ठीक है ना। तो 2 तरीके का लॉ हो गया पार्लियामेंट का। एक लॉ जो उसने बनाया नॉर्मली कि हाँ भाई भारत में सपोज कोई क्राइम है उसके सजा ये है, ठीक है, दैट इज नॉर्मल लॉ, दैट इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड ऑर्डिनरी लेजिस्लेटिव पावर। और एक लॉ उसने बनाया आर्टिकल 368 में कि हाँ भाई कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को अमेंड किया जाए। तो क्या दोनों लॉ सेम है? दैट वाज द प्राइमरी क्वेश्चन। अब इसका सिग्निफिकेंस क्या है? अगर दोनों लॉ सेम है तो इसका मतलब हुआ कि पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट अमेंड कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन विच इज अगेंस्ट फंडामेंटल राइट। इट मीन्स कि पार्लियामेंट कैन नॉट डिलीट एनी फंडामेंटल राइट। बेसिक मतलब यही हो गया, ठीक ना, कि पार्लियामेंट कोई भी फंडामेंटल राइट नहीं बदल सकता है। अब शंकरी प्रसाद का जो 1951 का जो जजमेंट था, उस जजमेंट में जो है सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा कि नहीं, दोनों लॉ अलग अलग है। इट मीन्स कि पार्लियामेंट कैन अमेंड द फंडामेंटल राइट। कोई बात चलता चला आया। अब ये मामला पहुंचा गोलकनाथ में, पहले तो सज्जन सिंह में पहुंचा गोलकनाथ में। तो सज्जन सिंह गोलकनाथ का दोनों का सेम ही जजमेंट था। इनफैक्ट गोलकनाथ ने सज्जन सिंह को अफर्म किया कि भाई नहीं, जो लॉ पार्लियामेंट ने बनाया है और जो लॉ पार्लियामेंट ने नॉर्मली बनाया है, जो कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन को बदलने पे बनाया है और नॉर्मली बनाया है, दोनों एक लॉ है। इसका मतलब कि द लॉ मेड बाय पार्लियामेंट अंडर आर्टिकल 368 कैन ऑल्सो बी रिव्यूड बाय द कोर्ट्स अंडर आर्टिकल 13, ठीक है। अब इसको फिर चैलेंज किया गया, दैट वाज केशव नंदा भारती केस, एंड दैट वाज अ वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग जजमेंट। उसमें गवर्नमेंट की भी बात रख ली गई कि नहीं, ओके, द लॉ मेड बाय पार्लियामेंट अंडर आर्टिकल 368 इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द लॉ मेड बाय पार्लियामेंट अंडर ऑर्डिनरी लेजिस्लेटिव पावर, बट we will review the law made by article 368 only by the article 368 only, because the word has been used is amend. So amend means change, it do not mean such a change that constitution do not exist. I mean you cannot use the constitution to destroy or replace the constitution itself, ठीक है ना। तब वहां पे सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अमेंडमेंट के लिए कहा कि कितना अमेंड नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो उसने नाम दिया कि कितना अमेंडमेंट नहीं करेंगे, एक टर्म का इस्तेमाल किया, दैट इज बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, कि बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर को अमेंड नहीं करेंगे ना। व्हाट इज बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर, इट इज अ वेरी वेग वर्ड, ठीक है। तो बहुत सारे जजेस ने, जो 13 जज की बेंच थी, उन्होंने क्या क्या लिस्ट दिया कि हाँ भाई इसको बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर्स कहेंगे, ठीक है। तो उसी को हम लोग क्या बोलते हैं, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन। तो मतलब क्या हुआ कि अब अगर सुप्रीम कोर्ट रिव्यू करेगी किसी भी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अमेंडमेंट को, तो उसको आर्टिकल 13 से नहीं रिव्यू करेगी, बल्कि आर्टिकल 368 में ही रिव्यू करेगी। किस डॉक्ट्रिन के हिसाब से, बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन के हिसाब से, ठीक है ना। तो अब इस स्टेटमेंट को पढ़े जरा सा, 112 नंबर, द बेसिक स्ट्रक्चर डॉक्ट्रिन विथ रिगार्ड टू द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ इंडिया रिलेट्स टू, पहला पावर ऑफ जुडिशियल रिव्यू, 100% करेक्ट। मेन क्वेश्चन यही था कि उस जो अमेंडमेंट हो रहा है उसको द कोर्ट कैन सी और नॉट, कोर्ट कैन रिव्यू इट और नॉट। सेकेंड इज द जजमेंट ऑफ केशव नंदा भारती केस, ऑब्वियसली केशव नंदा भारती केस रिजल्टेड इनटू this doctrine. And third is the constant of article 368, again this constant, the word amend is basically the constant. And third is the judgment of Golaknath, obviously judgment of Golaknath has nothing to do with it, okay. This judgment was when challenged in Kesav Nanda Bharti, then it was obviously this basic structure doctrine was created. So statement 1, 2 and 3 is correct, that is 112 question number, and the option is A, that is correct. Now let us come to article 130, question number 138. It is very interesting. Now, which of the following fundamental rights are enshrined in the Constitution of India belongs only to the citizens? Now, we have seen that article 19 always belongs to the citizens. So, we have article 19, it is correct. Second, protection of life and liberty. Here it is said no person shall be denied. Okay. Now, person means it is neutral, it is not citizen specific, so it is applicable to both of them. Second, protection of discrimination, prohibition of discrimination, again it is only citizen, ठीक है। The state shall not discriminate against the citizens on the ground of religion, race, caste. And 16 is equality, opportunity of employment same नहीं प्रोवाइड की जा सकती है। तो which of the following is available only to the citizen, तो आर्टिकल 19, 15 एंड 16, ठीक है। आपके इन्फॉर्मेशन के लिए बता दें, 21, 14 क्या है, सब पे एप्लीकेबल है, ठीक है, इज एप्लीकेबल टू एवरीवन, मींस एनी पर्सन। नाउ let us come to question number 114. It is fair simple question, involuntary renunciation of Indian citizenship and voluntary renunciation. By marrying or criticizing the government you will not lose your citizenship, very easy. Now question number 115 is very important, it is a little bit tricky also. We have this article for respect to conviction of offences, and we have three distinct things, that is ipso facto legislation, that a law which is made before the commencement of a particular act shall not be applicable to that particular act, okay. और कोई आदमी कोई काम करता है तो उसे उसी काम के लिए सजा दी जाएगी जो कि काम करने के समय में अपराध था, नहीं था या पिछला अपराध था तो नहीं मिलेगा। दूसरा है कि किसी भी आदमी को अपने खिलाफ गवाही देने के लिए बाध्य नहीं किया जा सकता है, ठीक ना। तो पहला स्टेटमेंट एग्जैक्टली है, दैट इज करेक्ट। सेकंड, एक्यूज्ड मस्ट हैव वायलेटेड एन लॉ, ऑब्वियसली इट इज करेक्ट। थर्ड, कैन नॉट बी ट्राइड अनपनिश्ड। यहाँ पे थोड़ा कन्फ्यूजन है, क्योंकि हमारे यहाँ क्या है कि अ पर्सन कैन नॉट बी कन्विक्टेड फॉर ए सेम क्राइम ट्वाइस, पनिश्ड फॉर द सेम क्राइम ट्वाइस। यहाँ पे है ट्राइड एंड पनिश्ड, तो ट्रायल में कोई बैन नहीं है, अ पर्सन कैन बी ट्राइड ट्वाइस, ठीक ना। ओनली द बैन इज इन द पनिशमेंट, सो ऑप्शन नंबर सी इज इनकरेक्ट, बिकॉज इट सेज अक्यूज्ड कैन नॉट बी ट्राइड एंड पनिश्ड। नो, ही कैन बी ट्राइड ट्वाइस, थ्राइस ऑल्सो, एक बार बड़ी हो गया दोबारा उस पर ट्रायल चल सकता है, ठीक ना। लेकिन पनिशमेंट पे बैन है कि दोबारा नहीं मिले, ठीक है। तो इट इज वेरी वेरी ट्रिकी वन। सो दिस इज आई थिंक इज द लास्ट क्वेश्चन ऑफ पॉलिटी, and thank you very much, and for detail you can have this all other subjects also, we will cover it shortly, okay. Thank you.